Hi and welcome. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about emotional eating, how we can resolve our emotional eating, and why we need to understand how growth works. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating, and I wanted to talk about growth and how we move through this emotional eating pattern, because I see this with women when they've tried, of course, all the surface solutions and they don't get the results they need. But when we are working on a sustainable way to move through our emotional eating, growth looks not like a straight line up. It's non-linear. So it's sort of up and down, but we're moving towards that direction of resolving our emotional eating. It's almost like we're looking at a mountain and we know we can get to the top, but we sort of have to navigate through that path. And so this is why it's important to have support and guidance, someone there who can help you see the path more clearly, who knows what's going to happen, who can help you with the right tools and skills and navigating things. And so when we are emotional eaters, the roadblocks that we meet as we're trying to resolve this pattern is, first of all, understanding what this pattern is about, knowing that it's not about just controlling food and our body through willpower, that there are other connections going on. And it's also about knowing that when we have this pattern, it is coming from this deeper place and we need to work with it at that level, and we need to almost see that it's possible to move through this pattern, have that trust, so that we know on the journey we're going to meet some resistance, we're going to have doubts, we're going to have fears, we're going to be uncertain, we're going to think we're not doing it right. And this is what happens as we move through this journey. And part of the reason that it feels like we're at the bottom of a mountain and we're looking to climb it is because we developed this pattern. Emotional eating is a coping mechanism. It's not a pattern for thriving. It's a survival pattern. It's whenever, we meet any discomfort or stress, we use this to soothe and to cope. And so through using food to soothe, we also develop unhealthy habits around food and our body and our emotions. And so we need to navigate these. We need to change our perspective and really reprogram them to a better way, a healthier way, a more aligned way that feels good for us. Because of course, if you've been emotionally eating, if you've been obsessing about food and your body, it does not feel good. And that's your indication that it's not working for you. If it was working for you, you wouldn't be here watching this video. And so we need to look at emotional eating and resolving it almost as climbing a mountain, not to make it seem daunting, not to make it seem scary, but that there is this up-leveling that's happening, this evolution that's happening. There is this climb that we're taking. We're getting to this pinnacle, to this spot. And so in order to navigate and get there, we're going through this journey of learning how to climb this mountain, learning how to overcome the little obstacles and doubts and fears that we might encounter. And so whenever, we're climbing a mountain, it's good to have a Sherpa, a guide to help us. We're still climbing the mountain, but that person is going to know the safest path, the fastest path. They're going to understand the terrain. They're going to understand the doubts and the fears that come up and guide you. And if you trust them, it's going to make your journey so much easier. Because if you take someone who's you're climbing up a mountain with someone who's like falling off the rocks, they don't know what they're doing, they haven't been through the journey themselves, they haven't climbed that mountain 1,000 times, you're going to feel even more insecure. You're going to feel more doubt. So you really need to look at who you're asking for guidance from. And so back to the mountain metaphor, because it makes so much sense. And this is what I see with clients of climbing this mountain. So a lot of the times when we are shifting our perspective, we're bumping into our resistance and our blocks. And of course, that deeper layer under our emotional eating, all of these emotions, and we need to navigate and move through it. And so it's sort of like, it's like a growth curve. It's like, we'll have these moments where we feel doubt and fear. And if we don't have someone there guiding us, we can get lost in it and spiral. And as emotional eaters, when we hit into, this fear or this doubt, or like we're not perfect, we didn't do it right, we're really trying to do the thing right, that spirals us into shame and triggers our emotional eating. So we need someone with a bigger perspective, seeing where we're at on the path and helping us to move out of it. It's not to say we won't sort of we move 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're sort of in this place, and then we'll have the complete shift. And so, when you're on this journey, don't think that it's supposed to be perfect and you're supposed to just have this instant fix. That's what's sold to us out there. Nothing in life is a magic bullet. Nothing in life is an overnight success. There's always work being done under the surface, behind the scenes, that eventually becomes so easeful and effortless. It creates momentum, and then we're in this new way. And that's the same thing for emotional eating. So when I was on my own emotional eating journey, it took me several years to figure this out, because I was trying all the surface solutions and the diets and the different practitioners, and I didn't even know I was emotionally eating. I didn't even know what I had. And so I would try and fail and thought something was wrong with me, and I didn't have enough willpower, and I was broken, and I needed to be fixed. And it wasn't until I had tried and failed so many times that I realized, wait, this doesn't work. It actually just doesn't work. It's not that I'm trying and fail. It just doesn't work. I need to go deeper. And that's why I realized I had to shift the way I related to food, to my body, and to my emotions, and seeing the deeper pattern of emotional eating, how it's a coping mechanism and how it's being triggered on the surface, and how do I actually meet my true needs. So, I was I was obsessed about food because I was in so many diet mentalities and restriction and obsessing about food. And then I would do that to my body. And I thought if I could control my body and my food, I'd be accepted. And because I had felt so out of control with food, because I was using food to soothe and to cope. And so all of these patterns get wrapped up where we're looking for those deeper needs to be met, and then we're using food to sort of soothe and numb out, to just feel okay when we don't have our deep needs met. Then we don't feel good in our body because we're using this coping mechanism that doesn't create health in our body, and we think we have to look a certain way to get that love and acceptance as well. And so we go to the diets and we buy into our body should look a certain way, and then we're wrapped up in this pattern, and it's multi-layered. And each of these sort of critical thoughts, every time we judge ourselves, every time we think we're doing it wrong, that triggers us into shame. It spirals us into this really negative mindset, and this all triggers us to emotionally eat. And so we're doing it in many different areas. All of these triggers are now adding up. And so we need to go layer by layer. And that's the climb of the mountain. As we go through layer by layer, we're climbing up the mountain, and eventually the pieces, they start moving together. It doesn't take as long as it took me, which was many years. And you look back and you've climbed so much of the mountain, you're almost at the peak. And so that's the beauty of resolving this pattern. But it's important to note that there's going to be those doubts and fears. There's going to be that uncertainty. But when you have a guide and you have a step-by-step plan and you have a map and you understand how this pattern works, it's going to be so much easier. And so this is why I created the Emotional Eating Evolution program. So it is the step-by-step methodology. There is a guidance and support and all the right tools to help you navigate through this pattern, to get you to that place where you feel at ease in your body and around food. You're no longer emotionally and binge eating. And so this is what's needed to really resolve this pattern, not a one-off, 30-day diet or a surgery or pills. There's nothing wrong with you. You just don't understand this pattern. And when you don't understand it, you don't know what you need. Emotional eating is so multi-layered. And so I would love to invite you to find out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program and see if it's resonating for you, because I'm sure if you look at your relationship to food, your body, and your emotions, they don't feel good. And you tend to obsess about food, you're controlling food and your body, and then you end up just feeling like crap, and then you emotionally eat, and then you have no way of really navigating the stressors in your life, the discomfort that pops up, and you emotionally eat. So you can see how these things are triggering this pattern. So we really need to get into those roots to really resolve it. So I'd love for you to check out more about the program. If you feel like you're ready to resolve your emotional eating from the root, you can also book in an emotional eating clarity call. So on the call, we find out more about you, what your goals are, and how we can support you in the program. So I'll leave the links to that below. I just want to say that you can definitely climb this mountain. You can resolve your emotional eating, and it's so possible. So thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I look forward to sharing more with you. And I hope you have a great day.